So, for this video, I wanted to talk about the New York Knicks and how I believe that they're one piece away from being NBA champions. Let's get into it. So even though I know the Knicks only made it to the second round of the playoffs, I believe that there was two key factors on why this happened. The first key factor I want to talk about is the scoring. I feel like at times everyone kind of just had to defer to Jalen Brunson because there was no one who could consistently score on the team. And that was a major problem going up against someone like the Indiana Pacers, who just love to keep up offensively. Now, the second problem with this team is when it came to playoff time, everybody was injured. Bogdan Bogdanovic was injured, Mitchell Robinson was injured, and Julius Randle were injured. And these are very key players in their rotation. And later on, OG suffered a hamstring injury. So they were just battling with injuries this whole playoff series. Despite that, though, they put up a valiant effort against the Indiana Pacers and still were able to take them to 7 games. So, in my opinion, I believe if they make a few changes, this team can easily be title contenders. They already addressed their first problem with health by going out and getting Mikal Bridges in the offseason from the Brooklyn Nets. Mikal Bridges is one of the healthiest, if not the healthiest player in the NBA, never missing a game. Not to mention, he's also great at getting his own buckets, and he's a very versatile defender, and he's a wing defender, which is something that this team's going to need in the East, having to go up against a team like the Boston Celtics, the defending champions. Now, even though I just mentioned that the Knicks progressed, they also did regress because in the offseason, since they made the Mikal Bridges trade and they had to pay OG Anunoby, there wasn't enough cap space for them to go on and try and re-sign Isaiah Hartenstein. So that means that they're very lackluster at the big position, and the only big that they have is Mitchell Robinson. So I was deciding, what could this team do to upgrade? Now hear me out. Like I just mentioned, they were able to go to the second round and still take the Pacers to 7 without Julius Randle. So they really showed that they don't necessarily need Julius Randle on their team, right? And they just picked up Mikal Bridges so they could run a lineup of Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, and Mitchell Robinson, or if they decide to pick up another big. And I think that's perfect for this team. I think Julius Randle's a good player, don't get me wrong. I just don't think he's necessarily what the New York Knicks need. So I compiled a few trades I think that the Knicks should try to pursue in order to be able to be a championship team. So let's get into the first trade. So the first trade includes the Utah Jazz, and I have the New York Knicks picking up Lauri Markkanen and Walker Kessler. And in turn, the Utah Jazz get Julius Randle, a 2025 Knicks first round pick, 2027 Knicks first round pick, 2029 first round pick, and a 2031 first round pick. Let's dissect the trade. Now, first things first, on the Knicks side, they get a player in Lauri Markkanen someone who can space the floor, and he can be moved to the center position because he's a solid defender, and I think he just makes their offense so much more deadly. Every single person in their starting lineup has the ability to shoot, and I just think that's so phenomenal for them. Not to mention that they get someone in Walker Kessler who's just a defensive demon. Oh my god, is he just blocking shots, getting rebounds, and that's someone that the Knicks need, and he just would fit so perfectly with this team. With Walker Kessler, this team could throw up a different lineup of taking someone out like OG Anunoby when he wants to rest and putting in Walker Kessler and moving Lauri Markkanen into the power forward position so they can play big and small. And I just think that type of diversity is going to be needed if they're going to want to go up against a team like the Boston Celtics. Or another team in the East that they're going to have to deal with who has a dominant big, Joel Embiid. So I think that this trade perfectly fits all the Knicks' problems and needs, and they get another young star to pair up with Jalen Brunson, and he can create his own shot. Now on the Jazz side of things, I know that they're getting a lot back, but we have to remember they have an absolute gremlin in Danny Ainge, who's the CEO of basketball operations for the Utah Jazz. So he's not doing a trade unless you're kind of either getting finessed or there's a lot coming back. And I mean, there's a possibility that this trade doesn't necessarily work out, and the Knicks in a few years are going to have to change directions and blow up the team, so they're going to get a plethora of picks back, plus Julius Randle, so I think it works out for both teams. Now, the second trade, the New York Knicks go to the Pistons and they say, what if we get Tim Hardaway Jr., Paul Reed, and Jalen Duren, and we'll give you Julius Randle, Bates Diop, your guys' 2025 pick back, Milwaukee's 2025 pick, Washington's first round 2025 pick, and our 2026 pick. Now, I really like this trade for the New York Knicks because they get a young, up-and-coming player in Jalen Duren who can really develop, I believe, in the Knicks role. And they also get someone in Paul Reed who can space the floor. He plays the power forward position. And they add someone like Tim Hardaway Jr. who you could put off the bench and get a few points. And he's an expiring contract. Now, for the Pistons, I don't like this trade so much for the Pistons, but, they get Julius Randle, someone they can either keep or flip, and you're getting 4 first-round picks. I think it's worth a look at, in my opinion. But let's get to the next trade. Now for the next trade, the New York Knicks go to the Atlanta Hawks and say we want Clint Capella and Darius Matthews, and we'll give you Julius Randle. And the reason I like this trade because I feel like it works out for both teams. The Atlanta Hawks get someone in Julius Randle who can help space out the floor, and they still have Onyeka Okongwu who can run the center position for their team. And it kind of just gives them a new direction. Now on the Knicks side of things, Clint Capella, he's a great big man. He plays great defense for a team, something that this team needs, and he can get boards, and I think he's perfect in the pick and roll with Jalen Brunson. Now for the last trade I made, and it's a very, very interesting trade. I don't know if it would really go down in real life, but if it would, I would like to see it. So it has the New York Knicks going to the Cleveland Cavaliers and saying, we want Jarrett Allen. And the reason I decided to make this trade is because I've seen there's a lot of conflict with having the Twin Towers in Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley. And I believe that this trade just gives a little switch up in their positions and gives them a smaller power forward who can actually create in Julius Randle. So the Knicks get Jarrett Allen while the Cleveland Cavaliers get Julius Randle, a 2027 first round pick and a 2029 first round pick. And I think the Cleveland Cavaliers, they get enough compensation, they help some of their problems, and they get to keep Evan Mobley. On top of that, you get Julius Randle who can create his own shot. He's going to be able to help space the floor, and he's going to be another scorer on top of Donovan Mitchell. Now, Jarrett Allen on this team, he's a major threat in my opinion. He's great at shot blocking. He's great at being just a lob threat, and he can actually score the basketball. So they have some versatility at their center position. And I think he would fit in New York. It's not like he hasn't played in New York. He was on the Nets before. So I believe it's perfect. But this is just my opinion. Let me know if y'all think I'm bugging with the Knicks are one piece away from being championship contenders. Let me know if you have any personal trades that you would like to see with Julius Randle, and if there's any trades that I missed, let me know in the comments down below. Like and subscribe. Thank y'all. We almost at 100 subs. NBA Sphinx out.